Hey, what's going on, guys? Bryce here with The Strength Athlete. We have been releasing freebies, free things that we give out to the community from some of the stuff that we use with our athletes ever since we started in 2013. A few of the most popular things have been our free training programs. We have our intermediate approach, which was the first one. And then we came out with a beginner approach, and then we revised the intermediate approach to an intermediate 2.0. And in between there, we put out a few things having to do with how to use Google Sheets better, how to use Excel better. Google Sheets and Excel have been like a pet passion of mine for a long time. Anyway, enough with the introduction. We came out with an attempt selection file that has become widely used, and I love it. I love that people are using this to make better decisions, to print out and bring their attempt selection with them into competitions to make better decisions. And I just went through a revision of a few things and just want to share that file with as many people as possible so you guys get better decisions, better visual layout of everything so that you have better competitions overall. So the sheet does a lot. We've integrated it with Open Powerlifting, so it draws results not only from the United States like it did before, and with the world records, I felt like the sheet was too US centric. It now uses the Open Powerlifting database to draw from any federation around the world and pulls that federation, the International Federation. This is not just drug-free federations, this is any federation because that's what Open Powerlifting has, and thanks to them for making something like this possible. So, as you put in some details, it will draw in your own past meet results. It will graph your best performances, your trends over time, and most importantly, it will help you plan for your next competition. Forget about what you've done in the past. So it will help you choose warm-ups, and lastly, it will help you choose your attempts with a low, a medium, and a high. So with that said, I'm gonna do a little screen share. We're gonna go over to the computer and I will show you some more about it. So we're here at my computer, and I'm going to share my screen and we'll walk our way through a few things here. We realized that so many people were using this that I wanted to open it up not only to other federations in the United States, but also other countries where we can have access to their own meet records and just have something that's a little bit more usable for more people. So it certainly won't be the last iteration of this sheet, but this is the latest. This is the same exact one that we use with our own athletes. Now, does that mean that you're going to make all your attempts? Well, it certainly depends on what numbers that you choose. You can opt to put in whatever numbers you like. And so maybe this is a good point to walk our way through why you may choose what specific numbers. And let's just briefly go over the instructions as well. So with that said, let's take a look. So this is the attempt selection page that we see right here. And the big note up at the top is that you may change any red numbers or selectors that you like. But you may break the sheet if you select anything that is not red and aim to change it. In some cases, that is totally fine. In the case of warm-ups specifically down here. But for the most part, aim to just change the red stuff and everything else should be fine. Okay, so on the instructions page, this will go over some of the basic instructions as well and some tips for how to perform in competition. More on that in the next video. I have a whole meet day guide that I have prepared to release. I just need to film a little bit about it. But yeah, on the Open PL page, you'll see relevant information for national and international stuff for your specific entity details. So let's start here. I put in a sample lifter, Phenom Natalie Richards here in the United States, but we can put in anyone else. And as soon as you put in your name, things will start populating. Note the one here. There are multiple Natalie Richards in the Open Powerlifting database, so you may have to go to Open Powerlifting and just see which version you are. So let's open up Open Powerlifting right now and let's have a look. So if I type in Natalie Richards, you'll see that there's a number 1 here, and notably you'll see in the URL it says Natalie Richards 1. That's what we're looking for. So we need to make sure that this piece of the URL matches in the attempt selection sheet because that's where the data is drawn from. So whatever it says here, that's exactly what we want. This would be the same if you're called by another first name or you recently got married, but your data here is from your old last name. Whatever it says here has to match exactly what you have put into in your records database. So I don't think I have any duplicates, so let's put in my own details so we can work our way through this. Everything is drawing here from my previous best, so it will say that here's my best in competition. As I scroll down, it will show a chart of my performances over time, and it will bring in all of my meet history results. So let's put in a few more details for me. Let's grab my current body weight at 93.8. You can decide on kilos or pounds if you like. And let's use the selector and find my weight class. So I'll be in the 90 kilo weight class. You can put in your age, your federation card number, your rack height, your bench height, and your safety, so that you can just have those at access when you go to your weigh-in, because we need to keep track of that stuff. And then the section for records. So I am in the USA, but all countries that are in Open Powerlifting's database are listed here. And my international federation, I don't have one right now, but I'll put in the IPF because those are relevant records as well. And then a regional federation, which is IPF only. This will bring in the regions for EPF, which just recently had a huge competition. Congrats to all those lifters, as well as every other regional competition. And then the federation that I will be in is USA Powerlifting. But since I chose the United States, it will only bring up USA federations. If I choose another country, let's try Germany, it will bring in all of Germany's federations here. Or you can just simply select all German lifters as well. So let's go back to the US. Let's choose USA Powerlifting, and we are raw. And then this is a slightly tricky one. Given the switch that some federations did with their weight classes, we want to check which weight class system. So traditional is the old weight classes. IPF is, of course, the IPF weight classes, the 93, the 105, 120, rather than the traditional, which is the 90 kilo, 100 kilo, 110, 120. And the expanded is the 120, instead of 125 plus, it's 140 plus for the men, and a similar adjustment for the female athletes. So let's keep it on the traditional here, and all ages, all years. There's some helpful links here that will direct you to places where you can find the meet that you plan to watch. So Lifting Cast hosts many competitions, or many meet directors host the competition on Lifting Cast. Good Lift is where a lot of international lifters will find theirs, as well as some international competitions, and Open Powerlifting, and a section for recent meets from Open Powerlifting. If you have some links that you feel like might be a good idea to add here, please leave them in the comments below, and I will happily add them to the sheet for everyone. Okay, so outside of that, we have some guidelines for the actual attempts here, and let's go ahead and put in my maxes, and we can start planning some stuff. So if I'm trying to plan my attempts, what I want to do is choose whether I want to think in kilos or pounds. So I'll select kilos, but just so you can see as pounds, it will simply switch these two. So pounds will be in one column, kilos will be in the other column, but let's stay with kilos. So let's put in some possible third attempts. I'm not saying these are my actual thirds, but just to put in some numbers here. And you'll see that everything down below populates as well. What we want to concern ourselves with are a few things. Number one, that the third attempt is something that we actually feel reasonably confident in, or it's a good guess at what we think we may be, because everything kind of works itself off of the third attempt in terms of a percentage. So if you put in too high of a third attempt, well, all the numbers here really aren't going to give us any valuable information whatsoever. So once we have that, we can start taking a look at the difference between the first and second attempt. That's these numbers here in rows 13 and 17. And we can take a look at what the actual numbers are. So what we ideally want is for the jump sizes between first and second attempt and second and third attempt to be either even, or a slightly bigger jump between first and second as second to third. So we know we'll need to fix this bench press here. We have a 7.5 kilo jump, and then we have a 10 kilo jump. So what do? we can take this second attempt and actually raise it a little bit, and that ought to fix it. So we actually have a 10 kilo jump and then a 7.5 kilo jump, or whatever numbers we want to do. So you'll play with these numbers by playing with percentages to the right of each of these columns. And then that's the same with your reach numbers here as well. Typically, we want a opener that we're very sure of. We want a small range for a second attempt and a much bigger range for a third attempt as well as we work our way up and forward. You'll notice one thing is broken down here, and that is the last training PR. So we want to put in our most recent training lifts so that we can have a little bit more accurate information about things. So haven't hit anything crazy lately. I think actually 287.5 at my recent competition was the most I did. And let's put in 202.5, and let's put in 352.5 here. So that'll start to give me some better information overall. Okay, so once we have that, we can simply work our way through these. These checkboxes here are when you're actually in the competition, so you can just kind of remember what you did and what you loaded on the barbell. You can use this sheet directly from your phone. It'll continue to work just fine if you have the Google Sheets app on your phone. So what else? We've added more than just the Wilks formula that was the standard. We've also added dot score, and we've added IPF good lift points as well. Down below here, this will tell me exactly how to warm up for my opening attempt. And of course, you can change any of these numbers, and you can load in pounds, or if you click the selector, you can also load in kilos. Now, a few cool new things. You can also use a 55-pound bar if you want to use this and figure out what the right weight is on squats. And let's load that in pounds. And then you can decide to use comp collar or not. This only works with collars, so we're going to say yes. And now we have the right numbers for squat. But let's go back to kilos. Let's make sure we're not using the squat bar, and we are not using comp collars. So now we have the correct loads as we work our way forward. And if you want to change any of these numbers, you can simply go in here and you can change this number and you'll be totally fine. Let's pretend this is 260 instead. So it'll now tell you how to load 260. I'll hit undo on that and you're good to go. There's a section for some notes here. Maybe you'll use this for goals, what you want to hit, or a specific technique cue you want to keep close at hand, or another athlete that you want to keep track of, or literally anything that you want. And then the section for open powerlifting that we've looked at draws in the appropriate record. So this is male raw USA powerlifting, all ages, all years, traditional weight class system, and that gets us our appropriate record. So we can take a look at the squat at the top, the bench press in the middle, the deadlift, and finally the total at the very bottom, and that will draw in the appropriate records. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you find use in it. I hope it leads you to better competitions in the future and more ease overall, just kind of feeling more prepared, more able to focus on the act of warming up, the act of putting load on competition and crushing it rather than the minute details of 2.5 kilo jumps or something like that. My hope is that you go to your registration for your competition fully prepared. You have everything on one sheet, whether it's printed or on your phone. You have everything in easy access in one single place for you to have all of your resources all together. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week, and I'll talk to you soon.